Another poll, all right? How long have you been searching for a job? There are a couple of options on your screen. Select the option that is relevant for you, and it'll help me understand where you are in your job search journey. And as the results come in, we can see that we've got people across the spectrum. We've got people who are just starting out. We've got webinar attendees who have been searching for a job for a couple of months. And some of you have been searching for more than a couple of months. And irrespective of whichever group you are in, this webinar is relevant for you. A quick introduction about me. I am a career coach with over 30 years of experience. And if you were to look at my LinkedIn profile, which is really what you can see on your screen here, and you focus on what I've highlighted in green, I am a top job search strategies voice, and I'm bringing all of that knowledge, insights, and experience to the webinar today. LinkedIn has also said that I am in the top 1% of quality contributors to job search strategies. So I know what I'm talking about, and I want to share the best of my knowledge with you in our short time together. I worked over 20 years across a field of companies, across a spectrum of companies in India, like Johnson & Johnson, Nokia, Lawlentas, Unilever, AkzoNobel, Cargill, Max New York Life. In the field of marketing, I have held junior positions, middle management positions, and also CXO positions, chief marketing officer roles at AkzoNobel and Cargill. So I have been in your shoes. I have walked in them. I know the anxiety and the frustration that you feel when you want to change jobs, because I've also done that many times. This is a picture of my family. I'm a father of two boys who are in their 20s. And yeah, so that's enough about me. Now, this webinar and this session is about you, right? So, time for another poll. Let me know, how many years of experience do you have, work experience? So, after you graduated, after your last educational qualification, how many years of experience do you have? Is this a webinar where we have a lot of people in middle management, senior management, or even junior management? So go ahead, fill that up, and it'll give me feedback. And as we progress in the session, I will be using that feedback to customize the webinar a little bit more for you. I want to start first with my story. And this is very important. I'm not just starting with my story to talk about myself, but I want to show that the experience that I share is relevant, and some major challenges which happened in my life which allowed me to create a framework that I'm going to be sharing with you today. So it all started in 2001, many years back. I had recently got married. That's a picture of my wife. And a couple of years later, our elder son came along. So she took a break from her career. And suddenly, almost overnight, we became a single income family. And I found that our expenses, our household monthly running expenses, were rising faster than my salary. They were increasing very fast. And maybe, you've been in that position. I certainly was. And I found that I had to do something very quickly. So what did I do? I started searching for a new job which would pay me more, because I had realized that in my role in Nokia, I was not likely to get a salary hike anytime soon. So I went online on Naukri, Times Jobs, and some of the other portals. I applied through the classifieds. And in those days, LinkedIn hadn't even arrived. It wasn't even on the scene. So I did what most job seekers do, applied, and I got the result that most job seekers get, which is I wasn't successful at all. I would apply online and I would never hear back. There's a term called ghosting, which means that people just vanish. HR managers vanish after taking your application. Have you had that experience? Write yes in chat if you have applied online and never heard back from anybody, because I've experienced that. I would submit my resume to recruiters, and after a while, they would stop taking my calls. So I was pretty frustrated. And then I almost got my lucky break. So in those days, in 2001, I was working in Nokia, and I was reporting into two bosses, a boss in India and a boss in Singapore. So I had dual reporting, and some of you obviously also have dual reporting. Now, my boss in Singapore was pretty impressed with my work, so he invited me to come to Nokia Singapore and work there. It would have been a better role, wider responsibilities, and obviously would have paid more. And I mentioned I almost got a lucky break because it didn't happen. Because of politics in the Indian office, there were some people who were not very keen to see me progress ahead of them. So they sort of scuttled or cancelled my move. They made sure that promotion and that offer was taken away. And because of office politics, I remained in my current job. Hey, let me know in the poll, have you ever faced office politics at work, either now or in the recent past? And looking at the results, I think that most of us have faced office politics. I can certainly see it on my second screen. A lot of us have faced office politics during our career, and I did. So there I was in a dead end job, no salary hike, my expenses rising faster than my salary, and I was stuck in a rut. I was miserable. I didn't know what to do. During those days, I had a mentor. Now, I have always been a very strong believer in the power of coaches and mentors to help me and help anybody progress in their journey. And my mentor in those days, or my coach, was my former boss with whom I shared a very good relationship, Rohinish Huda. Rohinish unfortunately passed away in a car accident in 2012. But he and I had worked together in Johnson and Johnson, and when I moved from J&J to Unilever and then to Nokia, we stayed in touch, and he became my mentor. So I went to Rohinish and I said, Rohinish, what's this here? I'm not able to find a good job. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I'm applying online and I have no idea what to do because I'm not getting any calls back. I'm not able to convert my applications into positive results. So he actually had a very strange answer. He said, all right, Vikram, let's go for lunch. And I was scratching my head. I said, you know what? I'm talking to you about a serious thing and you want to eat lunch? But anyway, I was respectful. He was my coach, my mentor, my senior. So I went out for lunch with him and we went to McDonald's. So there we were having a burger. And then he says to me, Vikram, look around you and what do you see? So I looked to my left, I looked to my right, and I saw people enjoying themselves, young families having burgers, some teenagers around, everyone having a good time. And that's what I told him. So he smiled and said, you're missing the point. He said, look around you. All the burgers from McDonald's look the same. So whether you have a veggie burger in Chennai, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Delhi, it tastes the same. Whether you have a chicken burger in London, Paris, New York, Mumbai, Delhi, it tastes the same. How does McDonald's do that? He said, do you know that McDonald's sells 75 burgers every second around the world? 75 burgers every second. And all those burgers look, smell, and taste the same. And that's basically 6.5 million identical burgers being sold every year. So how does McDonald's do that? And how do they do it so successfully? They are a very profitable business. And he said, Vikram, the answer is they have a system. They have a system for almost everything. And that's where you are failing because you, my friend, don't have a system. You're very random in your job search. When you feel like it, you apply online, then you pause and wait for a couple of days or couple of weeks. जब मूड में आया, you go to a recruiter, you hand out your resume, then sometimes you apply for jobs on classifieds. Where is the system? He says, I'm not seeing the system in your job search. And that was my light bulb moment. I said, you're right. Absolutely. I don't have a system. And this has to change. So I stepped back. I met a lot of people in the industry, HR managers, HR directors, my former bosses, colleagues, ex colleagues, and I tried to understand what was missing. And through all those insights, I created a system. And that system helped me move from being a job seeker to becoming a problem solver. And that system is called NEXT. NEXT stands for Network, Engage, Excite, Transact. It's a very, very powerful system which I'll be sharing with you today. And it enabled me in a couple of months to find two awesome jobs. One is as an AVP at Max New York Life, and the other one was as a VP at Tetra Pak. Two great jobs, both paid very well. I chose Max Life Insurance over Tetra Pak because, firstly, it paid better, and secondly, it was in a more interesting industry. So The point is that the next framework enabled me to move from a poor, helpless job seeker to getting two job offers very quickly. And then, of course, when the good news spreads around, people started asking me, Vikram, how did you succeed? What did you do? Can you give us some tips? So I shared the next system with my friends, with anybody who was asking for it, and they started seeing positive results. Tarun wrote into me and said, Hi Vikram, now focus on what I've highlighted in green. He got a relevant job at L&T Infotech. Another person, Gopal, wrote in and said that he received four offer letters, and you can see the kind of salaries he's got in the email. Sangeeta wrote in and said that she got a new role with a decent hike of 48%. And then now in the next paragraph, she says, I'm waiting for a response from WNS company as well. So eventually she got two offers using the next system. Shweta wrote in and said, Hi Vikram, today I had a final negotiation meeting. I have finally got a 68% increase in my salary. Now let me ask you this question. Would any company willingly pay you 68% when the normal market rate for a job change is between 20 and 40%? Of course not. But it was the next system which taught her how to do that, how to negotiate her salary really well. So the next system, and now coming back to me, transformed my life. It got me a higher salary, a better designation, a better role, and a better company. But much more than that, my internal transformations were more important to me. I finally felt that I had taken charge of my destiny, my job search destiny. I felt in control of everything that I was doing when it came to job search. I wasn't relying on a recruiter. I wasn't relying on job portals. I wasn't relying on external forces to help me in my job search. I had taken charge of it. I felt I was good enough. I felt that finally I was getting multiple offers and companies now obviously wanted to hire me. I felt valued. My self confidence came back. And the third point is really important. I finally, after a long time, felt proud to be a good husband, a father, and a provider. So the next system, and I didn't realize it when I was creating it, had internal and external benefits for me. So now, without further ado, it's time for me to share the next system with you. And to do that, we're going to first start off with understanding why aren't you getting the results that you really want. Because if you want to understand the next system, you have to start off with the foundation, which is this particular question. Time for a poll. I want to make sure you're on your toes. So let me know which is the number one method that you use in job search. You could be using any of the options you can see on your screen, but let me know. Click that one single option which you use most of the time. And no prizes for guessing, as I can see, most of us use job portals very frequently, right? I mean, there are some of the other options which people use, but most of us use job portals, and it's very natural because when you go to a job portal, and here is a screenshot from LinkedIn, you see a lot of jobs and it excites you. It gives you a huge rush. You feel very positive seeing a lot of jobs and availabilities and vacancies. So you start applying to all of them. It's a natural reaction, but unfortunately, it's not a very effective reaction. And once you apply, what do? You sit back, you relax, you chill, you wait for the results to come in, you wait for companies to say, Vikram, we would like to invite you for the interview. But does that happen? Well, unfortunately for poor Vikram, it does not happen. Why not? So to answer that question, I want you to focus on this screenshot, which is taken from LinkedIn a while back. And I want you to focus on what I've highlighted in red. For this one role, head of marketing at LinkedIn, there's only one vacancy. It says, see how you compare to 1,298 applicants. 1,298 people applied for this role, and only one person is going to make it. So if you divide 1 by 1,298, your probability of success if you were to apply for this role is 0.08%. It's not even 0.1%. And this is not an exception, not at all. Here's another role at Facebook, Director Strategy and Operations India. For this role, there were 2,258 applicants. So once again, take out your calculator. divide 1, which is that one single person who will get the job, by 2258, and your success rate is now even lower, 0.05%. That's insane. That's a massive amount of competition when you apply online. And even this is not an exception, because here's another example. I'm giving you a third example from LinkedIn. At Disney Hotstar, this is a great job, head consumer insights. There were 3,637 applicants. Divide 1 by 3637, and your answer is 0.03%. So you saw 0.08%, 0.05, and 0.03. I mean, the numbers blow my mind. And if it blows your mind, if you finally realize what the success rate is, write MB in the message box and let me know. That's right, right? MB for mind blown, because it certainly blew my mind. So let's put all these numbers into some kind of context. And to do that, I went online and I took a look at what were the success rate of getting into the best universities in the world, the Ivy League, Harvard, Stanford, Yale. And here's a screenshot of the answer. I've highlighted it in red. At Yale, the success rate was 6.9%. At Harvard, it was 5.2%. At Columbia, it was 5.8%. So it's somewhere between the 5 to 6%, success rate of getting into the best universities in the world. Even in IITs, according to a lot of publications online, the success rate of getting into the IITs is between 1 and 2%. And even at IIM Ahmedabad, according to The Economist and Bloomberg, the probability of getting into IIMA is 0.3%. Now, let's bring all the numbers together and take a look at and put everything into context. So I made this chart for you, and you'll see right at the top, Yale 6.9, Columbia 5.8, Harvard 5.2. So that is the success rate of getting into the best universities. IITs is 2%, IIM Ahmedabad is 0.3%, and then we come to the job portals, NIIT 0.08, Facebook 0.05, Disney Hotstar 0.03, etc. So looking at this chart, you can see that it's easier for you and for me to get into IITs, to get into the IIM Ahmedabad, rather than get a job from a job portal. I hope, looking at these numbers, you are now somewhat convinced that what you were doing so far is probably very ineffective, because the probability of success is extremely low. Look, when you go online, you want to apply for a good job, right? Not any random lallu pallu job. But if you want to apply for a really good job, you have to be aware of what is the probability of getting that job, and it's less than 0.1%. So take these numbers into consideration when you apply online. And the evil villain when it comes to applying online is that button you can see there, which I've highlighted in green, easy apply. When you click that button, LinkedIn takes your resume or your profile, your LinkedIn profile, and sends it across to the interviewer or the hiring organization. It makes it very simple and easy. But guess what? If it's easy for you, it's easy for everybody. And therefore, for everybody, it becomes very simple to apply for the same job you are applying for. Think about it that way. Don't look at job search only from your perspective. There is competition out there, you just cannot see them. When you are applying for a job, you have the job portal and you have you. This seems to be a one-on-one communication, but it's not the case. There are many, many, many other people, hundreds of thousands of people applying for the same role that you're applying for. So, my suggestion to you is, by all means, continue applying online, but don't make it more than 20% of your entire job search effort. You may get a lucky break, miracles do happen. You may get a job from an online portal, but don't hope and don't bet on it. Hope is a very poor strategy. Betting on job portals will set you up for disappointment and failure. So, going forward from today, say to yourself, all right, I'll continue applying online, but I won't make it more than 20%. And if you agree with me, give me that thumbs up icon. If you have, if this has opened up a window in your mind that applying online is actually very hard, and if you promise that you're going to make your online applications not more than 20% of your effort, then Click that icon and let me know. Having looked at the first point, which is why aren't you getting the results you want, now let's look at, therefore, what should you be spending that balance 80% of time on, and what is the return on that investment of time that you would spend? And that's where I want to introduce you to the hidden job market. And before that, a quick water break. I hope you're finding this interesting. As we go along, I will be breaking some myths. A myth is a false belief. And a false belief that many job seekers have is that by applying online, they'll get their job. Maybe it's a false belief you've had so far, and that's what I want to break. I want to shatter that. I want you to be very successful. That's my aim. Time for another poll, guys. Have you heard of the hidden job market and into it maybe in the last 3 months? So there are two options on your screen. Go ahead and click the one which is right and relevant for you. And I can see that most of us have not heard of the hidden job market, which is fine because nobody really talks about it. It's not mentioned online too much. So I'm going to explain to you very quickly what is the hidden job market, how does it behave, and how can you benefit from tapping into it. Are you ready for this? Let's do this. Let's look at the hidden job market. Now, what's this? This is a picture of an iceberg. Okay. You may have seen an iceberg in a movie, an image of it, or maybe even in real life. A very small part of the iceberg is visible above the water. Most of the iceberg, up to 80%, is not visible. It's hidden, it's under the water. And in your field, that's right, in your field, irrespective of whichever field you come from, whichever industry you come from, the job market is like the iceberg. Up to 20% of jobs are visible on job portals, company career sites, but the best jobs and most of the jobs are not visible. They are in the hidden job market. And the reason for that is very, very simple. Organizations do not want to tell their competitors that they are hiring for a mission critical role, a very important role. They don't want to advertise it online. Imagine if a company decides to open a, let's say, expand into a new geography. Imagine if they want to expand into South India and they advertise on Naukri on LinkedIn looking for vice president sales South India. Immediately, their competitors know that these guys are going to get into the South. So that's why organizations do not want to reveal very important roles in the external job market. And those important roles obviously are the high paying roles. Now focus on this hiring pyramid. This is called a hiring pyramid. It gets activated every single time you apply for a job. You may be applying online, right, so far, but you've now, for the first time, I challenge you to look at hiring from the hiring manager's perspective, not from yours. It's very natural when you're searching for a job to look at job search from your perspective, and that's where you're making a mistake. Start by looking at the HR manager. The HR manager is risk averse, which means they don't like taking a lot of risk, a lot of chance. So whenever a vacancy appears in the company, they will always look for internal transfers, internal talent to promote and shift across departments. It's a win-win for both sides. For the HR manager, it's a very safe move because they know the candidate very well. That candidate is already working in the company. They know the candidate's strengths and weaknesses. The candidate has been working in the company for a couple of years. He or she already knows the work culture. So there's a complete expectation match from both sides. Now, if that does not work, that's when the HR manager speaks to all the employees in the company and says, hey, guess what? We have a vacancy in department ABC. Do you know any friend or family member or ex colleague who can fill up that role? This is called the employee referral route. It works very, very well because, once again, it's the next best thing to an internal transfer. Organizations know that if the employees in the current company, in their company, are satisfied, if they're happy, if they're of good caliber and good talent, they are likely to find people like them to come and work for the organization. Birds of a feather flock together. The person coming in from the outside gets to know everything about the company because of the employee who's referring him or her. And the employee gets a little bit of extra pocket money, a little extra cash, which is the referral bonus. So everybody's happy, and the referral route is a very, very popular route. In poll, let me know, does your company, your current company where you're working at right now, do they have an employee referral program? Right, select yes or no and let us know. And as you can see, many of us do. Many of us, or many of the companies we work at, have an employee referral route. So that is the second method. Now if that does not work, that's when the hiring manager, so who's a hiring manager? A hiring manager is your potential boss in that company, the head of department. They would pick up the phone normally and speak to their colleagues in the industry and say, I have a vacancy in my team. I'm trying to fill it up. Do you know anybody who can fill it up? Do you have any lead? So that becomes networking. If that doesn't work, that's when the HR manager and the hiring manager tap into organizations like Chamber of Commerce, trade associations, and try to see, are there any leads there that they can speak to fill up the role. Every industry, whether it's marketing or sales, supply chain, finance, IT, every industry has its own professional networks. So these guys go and tap into those networks. If that doesn't work, that's when they try to approach a recruiter or a headhunter or a consultant. It's the same thing. The names are different, but it's the same thing. Organizations do not like going to a recruiter because they have to pay a recruiter a very heavy fee, a hefty fee for filling up that role. And that fee could be between 10% to 30% of the cost to company or the salary of that role. That's a lot of money, yeah. Because organizations are normally hiring multiple people at the same time. And imagine if they have to pay 30% of the annual salary of that particular role to the recruiter to find a candidate. So they do it only almost almost as a last resort. And if that does not work, that's when that role gets advertised online. So the fewest roles get advertised online, and at the same time, the maximum competition is online because most of us apply online and then we stop there. So, how do most job seekers start in this pyramid? What is their first point of contact? And I'm sure you've guessed it. Most people search for jobs online, job portals, classifieds. It's the simple way, it's the easy way, and frankly, it's the lazy way. After that, if they know a few recruiters, they may give their resume to the recruiters and say, can you help me find a job? And that's fine. The problem is that's when 99% of job seekers stop. They don't network, they don't look at professional organizations, they don't look at the company referral route, they don't look for internal transfers in the company, and they leave a lot of opportunities on the table. They forget to tap into the hidden job market. So now let's look at some numbers and map the hidden job market a little more specifically. 20 to 25% of jobs are going to always appear online on job portals like Naukri, Monster, LinkedIn, whatever. 80% or 75 to 80% are going to be hidden. 15% will be filled up by recruiters or headhunters in this case. 45% are going to be filled up through networking, and 15% are going to be filled up through internal transfers. So you've got to understand that every time you're tapping into the market to search for a job, you can't stop your job search only at the top 25%. You have to be tapping into the other parts of this iceberg. And I have interviewed, not interviewed by, but I have physically interviewed a lot of HR directors that you can see here and many, many more. And all of them have told me, without exception, most top jobs are almost always filled up only by networking. They're not filled up online. So I want to shatter that myth once again and again in your mind. Online applications are ineffective. You have to apply to a lot of places to be successful, and the probability of success is low. And even if you are successful, the best jobs are not there. They're actually filled up by networking. From there, now let's move into how do you tap into the hidden job market to get that job? Because you'll be saying, all right, Vikram, bahut ho gaya. I understood, that we need to tap into the hidden job market, but how do you do that? So let's start with a strategy, a proven framework called BOSS, the Blue Ocean Strategy. Now, the Blue Ocean Strategy was written many, many years ago by two Ivy League professors, one of the best professors in the world, Shan Kim and Rene Mabon. And what they really said was, in fact, I'm going to show that to you in the next slide. I'm going to encapsulate everything that they said in one image. because their thesis on the blue ocean strategy is a pretty big book. So let's look at this image. They said that in any industry in the world, in any geography, there is a red ocean and there is a blue ocean. The red ocean is the ocean that most companies are in. There's a certain set number of customers or consumers. There's a lot of competition. Everyone is fighting for market share. It's dog eat dog, very kind of cutthroat. Everybody's unhappy. And most mature industries are red oceans. But then you could also have a blue ocean in the same industry where, through a strategic method or a framework, you can make your competition entirely irrelevant. You don't even have competition. So that's called a blue ocean. So you have a red ocean and you may also have a blue ocean. So here is a picture which will, is representative of the red ocean and blue ocean in job search. You see all these planes flying in one direction. These are normal average job seekers applying online. But you're going to be different. You're going to be that paper plane flying in the opposite direction using the blue ocean strategy. Time for a poll. Let me know, is your current company that you're currently working in, are they in a red ocean or are they in a blue ocean? And let's take a look at that. It'll be very interesting for everybody here. Let's look at all of us as we work in our corporate life. Are we working in a company which is a blue ocean company or a red ocean company? The blue ocean strategy is not only theoretical. It's given birth to famous companies like Netflix. Netflix rose out of the blue ocean strategy because prior to Netflix, if you wanted to watch a movie, you watched it on TV. There were 50 channels, 60 channels, 100 channels in some parts of the world. Lots of competition. And all those channels were trying to grab market share from each other. But Netflix came and changed the rules of the game. They put all the content in the cloud, and we then created a subscription model. So Netflix became the first blue ocean player in that market. And it was so profitable for them that other copycats came along, like Prime Video and some of the other channels that you're aware of now. Airbnb, another classic example. Before Airbnb came, if you were staying outside your hometown, you stayed in a guest house or in a hotel. There was no other choice. But then Airbnb came and changed the rules of the game, and today they dominate the market that they operate in. This is a classic blue ocean strategy. iTunes is another example. And as I explain this example, think in your mind about Indian blue ocean brands and put them in the message box and share them with us. Can you think about any brand which has completely redefined the market? iTunes is another example. Before iTunes, if you wanted to hear music, you had to buy a CD or a music cassette. But then iTunes came and created iPods and iPhones. They created iTunes. Sorry, Apple came in and created iPods and iPhones, and they created the iTunes software ecosystem. All the music was put in the cloud, and then you could buy or subscribe to single tracks. They redefined the game and they dominate the music download market. So, moving on from there now that you've looked at the blue ocean strategy and I've hopefully proved to you that it works in real life, let's look at your job search funnel. And the job search funnel is very interesting because it gets activated every single time you apply for a job, irrespective of whether you're aware of it or not. If you are in the job market, the job search funnel is working either for you or against you. And right now in this image, if you can't read the blocks of text in orange, don't worry, I'm going to be reading it out for you. Most job seekers focus on the bottom end of the funnel, the blue dots, the job opportunities. They get paranoid about it. They say, oh my God, where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? I need a job. Man, I'm so stressed. I can't find a job. They start panicking because they're focusing on just three dots, which are few job opportunities. But you, my friend, are going to be different. Now that you've heard of the blue ocean strategy, I don't want you to focus on the bottom end of the funnel. In fact, instead, you're going to be focusing on the top end of the funnel, which is leads and prospects. And we are going to get the leads and prospects into that funnel. When you focus on the top end of this funnel, getting leads and prospects into it in your job search funnel, the bottom end of the funnel takes care of itself. You don't have to worry about job opportunities. Focus on getting the right quality and kind of leads into the funnel. Now, who are these leads? I'm going to be explaining that very shortly. To do that, now I'm going to share with you within the next framework. We're talking about the next framework. I'm going to share with you a set of tactics called the CAR method. And this is a method of getting leads into the job search funnel. So at the top, you have the next framework. Then we have the job search funnel, which by now you're aware of. And how do you get leads into the job search funnel? Using the CAR method. So CAR stands for three things, and the first one is companies. You have to identify the right companies that you should be working at. Now, these are not. Let me repeat that these are not companies which are searching, which are advertising online, which have placed roles on job portals or on company career sites. We are not identifying and targeting those companies because by the time a job comes online, it's too late. It's game over. There is just too much competition. So what you have to do is use a different set of tips and tricks to identify the right companies where the probability of getting hired is very high. And that is, so this is one out of the three things that you're going to be researching. Always go after the fastest growing companies in your industry. Now pause for a moment and think about why. Why should you do that? Because fast growing companies are going to require more people to fuel that growth. If a company is growing at 2x or 3x the market rate, it cannot continue at that growth rate, although it may want to with the same number of people. So even if they have not posted for job vacancies, they're going to require them 6 months from now. You should be able to identify who they are. So the way to do that is to go onto Google and type in India fastest growing companies and then the current year or the previous year. So I did that and I got many results. And one of them is India's Growth Champions 2023, a look at the top 125 companies in India. When you research, always research data from the previous year. It's much more stable than the current year. And like I mentioned, there were many lists and rankings. So I've just picked up one of them for you. And this is from a very reliable, trustworthy site, Economic Times. It's ET Insights. So when you click this and you open it up, there's a list of 125 companies which are growing faster than their industry market growth rate. You can sort this data by industry, you can sort it, and you can learn more about the company profiles. All of this information is there for you. You just have to know how to pick it up. After that, the next criteria is look for best places to work. Companies which are voted as best places to work normally pay more than the market rate. So if you're looking for a high paying job, go for these companies. So once again, go back into Google and type in India, best places to work, and the current year or the previous year. I did that and I got this research. The first result that I got in Google was from a site called Great Places to Work, India's best companies to work for 2023. There's a list of 100 companies. Now, my challenge to you is if you are searching for a job, do you have that list? Because if you don't, then you're not a serious job seeker. As you drill down into the results, there are more results. India's best companies to work for, top 100 companies. You can even sort it by sector. So within that site, India's best workplaces in IT. So if you come from the IT background, you have to know these companies' names. These are the best places to work. If you're a lady, you need to know which are India's best workplaces for women. And the data is there. All you have to do is grab it. And within best places to work for women, on the left hand side, you can look at large organizations, and on the right hand side, mid-sized organizations. There is no excuse at all for you not to be able to identify at least 25 companies which meet this criteria of either being the fastest growing, best places to work, and then we come to the third criteria. Okay, before that, there is another site which you can look at, Ambition Box. Ambition Box also has a list of best places to work. The third criteria is always target and identify companies entering India. Because companies entering India are obviously multinationals. They have large budgets. They're getting into a new industry or a new geography, and your ability to make a contribution is much higher than if you work in a large company which is very well established in India. These companies also have huge marketing budgets and huge uh, compensation budgets because they want to attract the best talent in the country to get a head start over the competitors. And they don't have people here. Doesn't it make sense to put your hand up and say, hey, here I am, come and hire me? So go into Google and type in India, countries entering country, and then the current year. I did that, and guess what? I got a result amongst many other results. I got almost 20 foreign brands set to enter India. These are 20 multinationals. At least one or two of them will be from your field. And many of these multinationals will hire across sectors or across fields. So large multinationals coming into the country will hire people in sales, marketing, finance, IT, business strategy, operations, manufacturing, R&D. It doesn't matter. All you have to know is figure out some of these companies and make sure you put them on your radar. You should be in a place of being able to choose these companies. So, my suggestion to you is from that list or from the universe of those hundreds of companies, target at least 25 companies that you want to work at. 25 should be your base minimum. The more you get, the better it is. And I'll be, in fact, very proud of you. Job search always plays on the law of large numbers, which means that the more leads you have, the more successful you'll be. So start by looking at least 25 companies. So that was the C of the car model. And if you like this, click that thumbs up icon, let me know, or write MB for mind blown or LOV for lots of value. If you found value in how do you get the list of the companies which are most likely to hire you. Now, from there, we are going to go into an entirely different sub category, which is alumni. So you have identified the companies. So maybe you have 25 or 30 or 50 companies that you want to work at. What's the next step? Identify people there who can help you. Now, a random stranger on LinkedIn cannot help you get a job. They don't know you. There is no like factor. There's no trust. But always remember in life, whether it is job search, business, or even in your personal life, remember what I've written here. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Random people on LinkedIn don't know you, they cannot like you, and they certainly don't trust you. So they won't help you out. But your alumni have a very common shared past with you. Now, when I speak about alumni, the mistake that most people make is that they think about only educational alumni. That's a very small part of the alumni that I'm actually referring to. I'm referring to two types of alumni: professional alumni and educational alumni. So let's look at professional alumni first. And to explain that, I'm going to take a specific example. Now, this is an example from the IT world, but it works whether you are in any world, finance, sales and marketing, any industry, agro commodities, whatever. I'm just taking IT as an example. So, as I speak in the slides ahead, I want you to imagine that you or I, both of us, let's imagine that we are currently working in Microsoft. Okay, that's our current company. We're in IT. And by doing your company research, one of your dream companies is Google. So you are in Microsoft and you want to make a move to Google. What would you do? You've already done your company research. Now you do your alumni research. So the first thing you have to do is find out people who have worked at Microsoft in the past and are now working in Google, because they will help you. The probability of them helping you is a lot more. They know what it's like to work in Microsoft. They can empathize with you, and they're more likely to help you because you are like one of them. There is a common past. To figure this out, focus now very closely on the screen, on these screenshots, and focus on what I've highlighted in green on the top left, the search bar on LinkedIn, because that's where all the action is. Okay, let's get started. Are you ready? Click that icon, let me know. Go to the search bar and type out just one word: people, because you're searching for people right now. You're searching for your professional alumni. So just type in the word people. Once you do that, you will see a list of buttons which will come up below. jobs, people, products, companies, post groups, blah, blah, blah. Click the button people. Once you click the button people, go to the last button on the right side, which is all filters, and click that. Once you do that, you will open up a secondary dashboard or a second dashboard on the right hand side, which I've highlighted in green. And there you will have to start selecting some filters. So in the filters, I want you to now start looking for people whose current company is, do you remember what it should be? The current company should be Google and the past company should be Microsoft. So as you scroll down, the first thing you'll do is select location because you're looking for jobs in India. So select India. All right, I've done that. Then scroll down and go to current company. Obviously, the current company should be Google because that's where you want to work. And then the past company, as you can see on your screen, should be Microsoft. Once you click the results, and let me go back one slide, there's a blue button on the bottom right hand corner which says show results. Click that, and now you can see there are 151 results. Guys, this is a gold mine of information. This is priceless data. 151 people work in your dream company and they have worked in Microsoft in the past. They can tell you what's it like to work in Google, who are the power centers there, who are the influencers, who are the best HR managers and decision makers who can help you get that job. Heck, if you really know these people well, they can even take your resume, they can bypass the ATS and take it straight to the hiring manager. If you target a company, you have to know professional alumni there. And a simple 5-minute research on LinkedIn will teach you that. So now we've got 151 people in India. But you say, all right, Vikram, can we narrow this down because 151 people is a lot? Sure, you can. Go to the second button, which right now says India, and select, let's assume that you're working in Bangalore and Bangalore is your hometown. Select Bangalore. And from 151, now you have 68 people. So here it's where it gets even more interesting. 68 people are working in Google. They worked in Microsoft in the past. They are in your hometown. There is no excuse why you cannot get onto a call with them, why you can't, ask them out for a cup of coffee, have a chat with them, and, be very frank, open, honest, and transparent. Tell them that you're searching for a job, you're struggling, and you have worked in Microsoft like them in the past. Would they be able to take 5 minutes or 10 minutes getting onto a Zoom call and sharing some tips about Google? When you reach out to a lot of people, some people will respond back. And at the end of the day, you don't need 10 jobs, you need one job, right? So reach out to all these people. This is your professional alumni. Now, when you look at them, and I'm once again going back one slide. So under these results, you had Pratik Rathore, and right below that, you have another person who I'm going to take as an example, Amitoj Likhari. So open up his profile, and you'll see that Amitoj is a product manager at Google and ex Microsoft. So he's the right kind of guy. Once you open up his profile, you have to get in touch with him. And there are multiple ways to do that. The first way, which is the obvious way, is to click the dark blue button which says connect. So click it, right? Go ahead, click that button. And LinkedIn will ask you, should we add a note to your invitation? Never, never, ever, ever click the blue button which says send without a note. That's the easy way. It's the lazy way. Most people will not respond back. In fact, many people every single day, because I'm a career coach, and ask me for LinkedIn connections, and they just go and click that button send without a note. I never connect back. But when people take a little bit of effort and add a note, a very simple note like, hey, hi Vikram, I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn if it's fine with you, I always make it a point to connect back. Because it has shown me that you have taken the little bit of initiative, little interest, you have the grace, you have the class to be able to put little effort in that outreach. And likewise, when you are connecting with Amitoj for a specific job, you have to put in that extra effort. Otherwise, why would Amitoj even want to connect with you? So click that button which says add a note, and then it will open up another dashboard, and you can write a little personalized note to Amitoj Again, it has to be just one line. Hi, Amitoj, I came across your profile on LinkedIn, would love to connect with you. And then, of course, Amitoj knows that you've taken that little extra effort, and the probability of him connecting back is at least two times, if not three times more than if you just send out a random connection request. But guess what? There is an even better way of connecting with him, which is through mutual connections. Mutual connections are people that Amitoj and I know in common, and they are the fastest way of connecting. So when I clicked that mutual connections, I found that Vivek Nath and Kumar Agri are people that he and I know in common. So what would I do? I would look at both the connections, and maybe let's assume that I know Vivek Nath really well. I would pick up the phone. I would speak to Vivek first and say, hey, hi Vivek. Look, you know what? I would love to connect with Amitoj because I'm searching for a job at Google. Do you know him? Would you be able to connect me with him? And if Vivek is a pal of mine and if he knows Amitoj, he'll say, yeah, sure, why not? And then all he has to do is to get into LinkedIn. In the message area, he has to compose a message connecting me with Amitoj. And then obviously it's up to me to take that connection request further. So that is how you use mutual connections. They are very powerful and very effective. And I love it when people use that on me. Now, here is a student of mine, Hemant Rathor. He's from IIT Delhi, I'm Bangalore. And a while back, I coached him and he got a new job. And you can see that what is highlighted, which I've highlighted in green, I was able to double my salary. So I helped him double his salary with a new job. And he used this strategy on me. A couple of years later, recently, in fact, he wrote a message to me connecting one of his pals to me. His friend was trying to search for a job, wanted to connect with me, and obviously, because I don't know him, I may not have connected. So Hemant stepped in and wrote a message connecting the two of us. And because I know Hemant, I obviously connected back with his friend. So mutual connections work extremely well. All right. What I want you to do, therefore, is look at those 151 results. If, of course, as in this case, you want to work at Google, these are your professional contacts. Go through as many of them. Find out wherever you have mutual connections. Connect with these guys. These guys can help you. The probability is the highest. This is your professional alumni. Now we come to your educational alumni. And to explain this, the only way I can do it is by sharing my example. So I graduated from my alma mater is Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies. I graduated in 1992. So I went to their LinkedIn page. And remember, in this example, I'm still looking for a job in Google. And I looked at their tab which says alumni. Okay, great. I clicked that and I found that they have 12,837 alumni, which is good, but it doesn't really help me. I mean, what am I going to do out of it? But below that, there is a little search box which says search alumni by title, keyword, or company. And there I would add in the word Google. So I did that. I added in the word Google, as you can see here. And there are 344 people who are working in Google or have worked in Google in the past who graduated from my alma mater. Once again, we have a shared common past. They have something in common with me. That's great. And their ability to help me is a lot higher than just reaching out to people on LinkedIn for help. So that is your alumni. Once you identify the companies, please ensure that you identify the right people to help you. And if you like this alumni hack, give me the thumbs up icon. Let me know because it motivates me and charges me to continue sharing the best practices with you. Remember, guys, the world of job search has changed dramatically since the pandemic. A lot has changed. And I'm sharing with you the latest and the best information that I'm aware of so that you can be outrageously successful. From alumni, the next group of people that you have to target are recruiters. And recruiters here are people working in your dream company. So they're called, talent acquisition managers or recruiters or HR managers. You can call them whatever. I've called them recruiters. So let's now target these guys. So in our example, what we need to do, go back to the LinkedIn search bar, type in people, open up all filters. And the first thing you have to do is Obviously, in location, select India because you're looking for people you want to connect with in India if you're looking for jobs in India. So do that. Then scroll down. The current company should be Google because you're looking for recruiters in Google, right? Not in any other company. Then scroll all the way down. Do not check anything in the past company. We're not referring to that now. So from current company, scroll down, and in the keyword area under title, type in recruiter. Okay, because you're looking for recruiters in Google. When you do that and you click the blue button, show results, what do you get? 31 results. There are 31 recruiters in Google looking for talent like you. Shouldn't you know them? If Google is one of your dream companies, of course you should. You should know who these people are. You should know what, where are they located, which city, and connect with them. And all that information is available. It's available on LinkedIn. So go ahead, find out these 31 people, open up their profiles, connect with them either directly or through mutual connections, and start a conversation with them. Now, when you start that conversation, please don't make this mistake. Don't start by saying, "Sir, ma'am, I need a job. Please, I'm desperate. I really need to work in your company." Because asking for a job is like taking a debit in a relationship. And the bottom line is, you cannot take a debit when you don't have credit in it. So, for example, let's assume that today, this morning, you have gone and set up your new savings account in a bank. Can you withdraw money from the account if you don't put money in it? Of course